Good morning, everyone. I have had many relationships in the past, and I have made many compromises in those relationships. Though I grew up in a Christian family, I really wasn't applying or putting into practice the things that I learned in church. My worldly and lustful tendencies would often dictate how I behave within those relationships, and that has resulted in me viewing women in a very warped and perverted way.
I grew up without a good example of what godly relationships look like. My siblings and I have different fathers, and growing up, I thought that was normal. I thought it was okay to have sexual relation with a boyfriend because that's how we show our love for them. What I've learned from my younger years is the idea na pag mahal mo, mahal ka, okay kayo, kahit sinong tumutol, dapat ipaglaban nyo yan. So I entered into a romantic relationship at an early age of 16, even if that meant disobeying my mom. The idea of honoring God and parents did not weigh much on me.
My desire was to seek and to create a meaningful companionship with someone, but my fleshly desires would often get in the way. Coming from a Christian family, I began to realize that the end goal of pursuing a romantic relationship should be marriage. So I began to try and create a godly relationship. However, a part of me still insisted on doing things my way rather than God's way. I pursued pre-believer women, and I tried to incorporate Christian practices into the relationship by bringing them to church and introducing them to small groups in hopes that they would also know Jesus Christ.
Despite of my hard-headedness, my lustful and immoral relationships, God never gave up on me. In August of 2010, after competing in Miss Universe, I was brought by my cousin to CCF and introduced me to his missionary friends. It was in one of those Sundays that I understood what Jesus has done for me. Despite of my filthiness, my sinfulness, Christ died on the cross to pay for the penalty of my sins. Because of his death and resurrection, I can be forgiven of everything that I have done. My newfound love and relationship with Jesus drastically changed my perspective in life and relationships. He impressed upon me a very important conviction, and that is to wait.
After a period of trying, those relationships ended. It came to the point that I finally gave up on trying to control every single moment of the relationship. And I said to the Lord, "Lord, please take control. Let's do it your way now." From then on, my prayers started to change. My motivation to pursue someone was no longer out of fear of missing out, but rather in placing my faith to the Lord, the ultimate matchmaker. I remember praying to the Lord to show me or lead me to the person that I was praying for. I had no idea who she would be, or how she would look like, or where we would meet. I just exercised complete and total surrender to the Lord. In the same way, my father was also praying for me as well. He even asked the Lord in prayer that should the Lord provide me with a life partner, that he may do so in haste and not to delay it. As I was now at peace and settled with my conviction to wait on God, I directed my attention and focus to serving my family and ministry.
Waiting was never easy for me. It was God's way of pruning me and training me to hear his voice in the midst of this noisy world. There were many days and nights of crying, asking God, "Why am I still single, Lord?" This season of singleness had been magnified, especially because I live alone and my siblings are all married and have their own families. But God knows exactly what he was doing. He allowed those things to happen so I would fully and wholeheartedly fall in love with him first, for him to be the lover of my soul. In my 8 years of being single, God has used that time to expand my borders in serving him. I remember praying that what was written in Isaiah 6:8, it says, "Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And I said, Here I am, Lord, send me." True enough, God placed me in a small group where all the members are married to let me see the reality of married life. God also entrusted me ladies to disciple and pour my life into. He also called me to serve in the youth ministry, to speak to women, both singles and married, and to minister to my mom that led to her getting baptized in the process. I had fallen in love with Jesus so much that I have enjoyed serving Him to the point that I'm okay to be single for the rest of my life. But God has a different plan, and His plans are way better than mine.
During that season of serving my family and ministry, there were times when searching for God's best became challenging. But God was still working in me. Though I came across some single women, my heart was still reliant on God's leading. It was not easy, but I knew that following Him was the right thing to do. A few months went by, and in October 2022, my brother got married. I was the best man, and my friend Venus was one of the hosts. I mentioned her as friend because we had already known each other since 2018. However, we were only acquaintances back then. It was only during my brother's wedding where we were able to really connect in a meaningful way. Her openness and honesty in our conversations was what drew me even closer to her. She was engaging, expressive, and even blunt at times. She also made it a point to let me know that she has devoted her heart to loving and serving God, which I clearly saw.
When North and I reconnected, and he asked questions that I did not expect he would ask, I had peace in my heart to engage in conversations with him. For the first time, I was not afraid to open my heart again. I enjoyed our conversation day after day.
When I began to develop romantic feelings for Venus, I immediately doubled down on my prayers. And I went to seek advice from my father. On November 13, 2022, I visited her here in Manila, and I immediately told her my intentions to pursue her. She said yes. A month later, we officially became a couple, and 7 months after that, I proposed to her on her birthday. And 5 days ago, on December 12, 2023, we got married. Praise God.
It was easy to say yes to North because I have talked to God a lot about him even before he asked me to marry him. I saw how my simple prayers to God were answered, like, I want to be with someone who loves the Lord, has a good relationship with his parents, someone whom my family can easily connect to, and will not look down at my mom or my family because of our simple lifestyle.
In our journey of waiting and pruning and hoping, we realized many things. That I needed to develop my intimacy with God first before I get intimate with someone else.
God wanted my heart first before He gives it to others.
I needed to learn Christ-likeness to be able to lead the woman that God will entrust to me.
Even if I'm already married, my heart still belongs to Christ, and He is still and will continue to be the ultimate lover of my soul.
My name is North, and this is my wife Venus, and together we will continue to serve the Lord in this new chapter of our lives.
To God be all the glory and honor and praise.
Thank you.